The glass doors of Horizon Analytics' Boston headquarters slid open, and Olivia Carter, 35, stepped into the crisp morning air, her heels clicking against the polished marble. She was the chief strategy officer, the mastermind behind the Pulse Trend system, a data analytics platform that had raked in billions for the company. But today, her mind wasn't on market projections or boardroom battles. It was on the sprawling lakeside estate she'd just purchased in the Berkshires. A sanctuary she'd earned through years of relentless ambition. This weekend, she'd planned a housewarming party to celebrate her triumph, a new chapter in a life she'd built from scratch. Yet, as she glanced at her phone, a single email from her mother, Diane, stopped her cold. Olivia. An update about the party. Attached was a photo that turned her blood to ice, her dream home. Draped in pastel streamers, with a banner screaming, "Welcome, Baby Thompson." Olivia's heart pounded. The $5 she'd wired to her mother for the housewarming had been hijacked. Her celebration, meticulously planned to mark her rise, had been transformed into a baby shower for her stepsister, Emily, 28, who was pregnant and basking in the family's undivided adoration. Olivia gripped her phone, her polished exterior hiding a storm of fury. This wasn't just a party gone wrong, it was the latest chapter in a decades-long saga of being erased from her own family. At 15, Olivia's world shattered when her father, Michael, succumbed to leukemia. Her mother, Diane, remarried within a year to Paul Thompson, a man whose charm masked a calculating need for control. From that moment, Olivia became a footnote in her mother's new life. Emily, the daughter of Diane and Paul, arrived soon after, and with her came a shift that Olivia could never undo. Diane's love, once a fragile tether, was redirected entirely to Emily, who grew up spoiled, entitled, and celebrated for merely existing. Olivia, meanwhile, was pushed aside, her bedroom, her father's books, even her place in family photos, all sacrificed for Emily's needs. Now, standing in her corner office with Boston's skyline glittering beyond the glass, Olivia opened the email's photo again. Pink and blue balloons floated in her lakeside estate's living room, a space she'd envisioned as her haven. The betrayal stung, but it wasn't new. At 16, she'd begged to keep her bedroom, where sunlight streamed through wide windows and her father's old physics books lined a cherished shelf. Emily needs a bigger room, Diane had said, her voice devoid of warmth. Paul had been blunter. I make the rules here. The next day, Olivia's belongings were shoved into a cramped guest room, her father's books boxed up in the garage. She'd found them later, her hands trembling as she opened one to see her father's handwriting. To Olivia. Knowledge is your wings. Love, Dad. That moment fueled a vow, she'd rise above, no matter the cost. The email from Diane was a grim echo of that past. Olivia, this is for Emily's baby. It's a big moment for us. Diane had pleaded over the phone, her tone laced with the same manipulative edge Olivia knew too well. You're successful, honey. You've got your big job. Your new house. Emily needs this. Olivia had hung up, her mind racing. She'd invited colleagues, mentors, and friends to her housewarming. People who'd seen her climb from nothing to a titan in tech. Now, they'd arrived to a baby shower for Emily, who'd never held a job longer than a year but was forever the family's golden child. Olivia's thoughts drifted to her grandparents, William and Clara Carter, the only ones who'd ever truly seen her. When Paul refused to fund her college, claiming, Emily's education comes first, they'd stepped in. We'll cover Yale, William had said, his voice steady as stone. Your father would have wanted this. Yale had been Olivia's launchpad, where she honed the skills that built Pulse Trend and earned her a seat at Horizon's table. Her grandparents were her anchor, and they'd be at the party, unaware, like everyone else, of Diane's deception. As the workday ended, Olivia drove to the Berkshires, the road winding through misty hills. Her estate came into view, its sleek lines glowing under the setting sun. Cars lined the driveway, and through the windows, she saw balloons and a crowd buzzing with laughter. A sign on the door read, "Welcome, Baby Thompson." Olivia adjusted her tailored black dress, checked her reflection, and steeled herself. This wasn't just a party, It was a battlefield. Inside, Diane beamed in a cream dress, guiding guests with practiced charm. Paul stood nearby, his smug grin betraying his pride in Emily, who lounged on a plush sofa, her hand resting on her belly in a flowing lavender gown. Emily's boyfriend, Jake, hovered close, oblivious to the family's twisted dynamics. Olivia spotted her grandparents in the corner, their quiet presence grounding her. She handed Emily a small gift, her smile tight. "Congratulations," she said, her voice calm but laced with steel. Emily's eyes flickered with unease. She knew this party was stolen. Diane tapped a glass, drawing the room's attention. "Today, we celebrate Emily and Jake's new chapter." Glasses clinked, but Olivia's hand tightened around hers. Something snapped into focus. She stepped forward, taking the microphone. "May I have everyone's attention?" Her voice cut through the chatter, clear and commanding. Diane's smile faltered. Paul's eyes narrowed. "This was meant to be my housewarming," Olivia began, her gaze sweeping the room. "I paid $5 for this event. For my home, my milestone. But it's been turned into Emily's baby shower without my consent." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Diane froze, her face paling. Paul stepped toward her, hissing, "Olivia, stop this." But she didn't. "For 20 years, I've been invisible in this family," she continued, her voice steady. "My father's memory was erased. My room, my education, my place, all taken for Emily. Today, my achievement was stolen too." Paul's hand shot out, slapping her across the face. Gasps filled the room as guests restrained him. Olivia touched her cheek, unshaken. "You just made this easier," she said coolly. Turning to her grandparents, she raised her glass. "To William and Clara, my true family. They sent me to Yale when Paul refused. I stand here as Chief Strategy Officer of Horizon Analytics, creator of PulseTrend. Because of them." William stepped forward, his voice calm but authoritative. "Clara and I updated our will. Our estate, our investments, everything goes to Olivia." Diane's jaw dropped. "Dad, what?" she stammered. Clara's eyes were steel. "You chose Emily over Olivia. We're honoring your choice." Emily leapt up, furious. "This is my day. You ruin everything." Jake grabbed her arm, stunned. "You used Olivia's money for this?" he asked. Paul shouted, "Olivia, get out." But she smiled, unshaken. "This is my house, Paul. I earned it. If anyone leaves, it's you." The room fell silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Olivia walked out with her grandparents, leaving behind a fractured family. 3 years later, Olivia was CEO of Horizon Analytics, the youngest in its history. PulseTrend had grown into a global powerhouse, used by governments and Fortune 500 firms. She'd founded the Michael Carter Scholarship, honoring her father by supporting kids like her, overlooked but resilient. Diane's real estate business collapsed, forcing her and Paul to downsize. Paul, demoted and humiliated, retired with a slashed pension, his company ironically adopting PulseTrend. Emily's relationship with Jake crumbled, and she moved back with her parents. Her dreams of grandeur faded. Olivia's penthouse overlooked Boston's twinkling lights, her father's books now proudly displayed. Weekends at the lakeside estate brought chess games with William and Clara's herbal tea, sipped on the deck as the lake shimmered. "You didn't let bitterness define you," Clara said once. "That's your strength." Olivia smiled, knowing success wasn't revenge, it was freedom. She lived for her passions, her people, her truth. The air inside Olivia Carter's lakeside estate in the Berkshires was thick with the scent of jasmine and champagne. But the festive hum of laughter felt like a blade against her skin. At 35, Olivia was a titan, Chief Strategy Officer at Horizon Analytics, creator of the billion-dollar PulseTrend system, and the proud owner of this sleek, modern mansion. Tonight was supposed to be her housewarming, a celebration of her hard-won independence, funded by the $5 she'd entrusted to her mother, Diane. Instead, the room was a sea of pink and blue balloons, with a glittering banner proclaiming, "Welcome, baby Thompson." Her dream had been hijacked for her stepsister Emily's baby shower. Olivia stood at the threshold, her tailored black dress hugging her frame, her face a mask of composure. Inside, she was a volcano. For 20 years, she'd been sidelined in her own family, first by her mother's remarriage to Paul Thompson after her father, Michael, died of leukemia when she was 15, then by the relentless prioritization of Emily, now 28, pregnant, and glowing in a lavender gown as she basked in the crowd's adoration. Olivia's gaze swept the room, landing on her grandparents, William and Clara Carter, standing quietly by the fireplace. Their presence was her anchor, the only tether to a family that had once felt whole. Diane, radiant in cream silk, flitted among the 40 guests, her smile practiced but brittle. Paul, in a crisp gray suit, stood beside Emily, his pride palpable. Emily lounged on a velvet sofa, her hand cradling her belly, her boyfriend Jake at her side, clueless to the storm brewing. Olivia approached, her heels clicking on the hardwood, and handed Emily a small, wrapped gift. "Congratulations," she said, her voice smooth but sharp, like a blade wrapped in velvet. Emily's smile wavered, her eyes darting away. She knew this party was stolen, built on Olivia's money and dreams. Diane tapped her glass, silencing the room. "Let's raise a toast to Emily and Jake. To the new life they're bringing into our family." Glasses clinked, laughter rippled, but Olivia's hand froze around her champagne flute. The weight of 20 years, her bedroom taken, her father's books banished, her Yale education nearly denied, crystallized into a single, unyielding resolve. She stepped forward, seizing the microphone from a stunned waiter. "May I have everyone's attention?" Her voice was clear, commanding, cutting through the chatter like a gunshot. The room fell silent. Diane's smile froze, a crack in her perfect facade. Paul's eyes narrowed, his jaw tightening. "This was meant to be my housewarming," Olivia said, her gaze locking onto the crowd, colleagues, friends, mentors who'd expected to celebrate her milestone. "I paid $5 for this event. For my home, my achievement, but my mother turned it into Emily's baby shower without asking me." A gasp rippled through the guests. Emily's face flushed, her hand clutching Jake's. Diane's glass trembled in her grip. "For 20 years, I've been invisible," Olivia continued, her voice steady but blazing. "When my father died, my mother remarried, and I was pushed out. My room was given to Emily. My father's books, his last gift to me, were tossed into storage. Paul refused to pay for my Yale education, saying Emily's future mattered more. And now, my celebration, my home, has been stolen for her." The words poured out, each one a release of pain she'd buried since she was a teenager. She turned to her grandparents, her eyes softening. "William and Clara made me who I am. They funded Yale when no one else would. I stand here as Chief Strategy Officer, creator of Pulse Trend, because of them." Paul lunged forward, his face red with fury. "Olivia, stop this now," he hissed. But before he could finish, his hand swung, striking her cheek with a sharp crack. The room froze, a collective gasp sucking the air dry. 2 guests grabbed Paul's arms, pulling him back as he sputtered. Olivia touched her stinging cheek, her eyes blazing. "You just made this easier," she said, her voice low and lethal. "I'm done being silent." William stepped forward, his presence commanding despite his age. "Clara and I have an announcement," he said, his voice calm but cutting. 3 months ago, we updated our will, our estate, our investments, everything. It goes to Olivia." Diane's glass slipped, shattering on the floor. "Dad, what are you saying?" she stammered, her face ashen. Clara's voice was steel. "You chose Emily over Olivia. Diane, you abandoned your daughter. We're making our choice clear." Emily shot to her feet, her lavender gown swaying. "This is my day," she screamed, tears streaking her face. "You ruin everything." "Olivia," Jake grabbed her arm, his face pale with shock. "You used her money for this?" he asked, his voice breaking. Emily yanked away, her eyes wild. Paul roared, "Olivia, get out. You don't belong here." But Olivia's smile was cold, unshaken. "This is my house, Paul. I bought it. I earned it. If anyone leaves, it's you." The room was a tableau of stunned faces, colleagues whispering, Friends wide-eyed. Diane slumped in defeat. Olivia set her glass down. Her movements deliberate. And walked toward the door. William and Clara at her side. As she stepped into the cool night air. The lake shimmering under the moonlight. She felt a weight lift. This was her turning point. She'd severed the chains of a family that never valued her. 3 years later, Olivia sat in the CEO's office at Horizon Analytics. The youngest in the company's history at 38. PulseTrend had transformed into a global juggernaut. Its algorithms powering decisions for governments and Fortune 500 firms. She'd founded the Michael Carter Scholarship, named for her father, to uplift kids who, like her, had been overlooked but burned with potential. Her penthouse in Boston overlooked the city's twinkling skyline. Her father's books now displayed in a custom oak shelf, their pages whispering his love across time. Weekends at the Berkshires estate were sacred, chess matches with William. Clara's chamomile tea on the deck. The lake's stillness a balm for her soul. Diane's real estate empire crumbled in a market crash, forcing her and Paul to sell their lavish home for a modest condo. Paul, once a tech executive, was demoted when his outdated strategies clashed with a younger, sharper industry. His company adopted PulseTrend, Olivia's creation, before offering him a brutal choice: a 50% pay cut or early retirement. Prideful, he resigned, only to find his pension slashed. His network gone. Emily's fairy tale life unraveled when Jake left. Unable to reconcile her family's deceit, she moved back with Diane and Paul. Her dreams of grandeur reduced to a cramped room in their downsized home. Olivia never spoke to them again. Her true family, William, Clara, and the memory of her father, filled her life with meaning. "You didn't let hate win," Clara said one evening, her voice soft as they watched the sunset. "That's your victory." Olivia smiled, her heart light. Success wasn't about revenge, it was about living her truth. Each morning, she passed 2 framed photos in her office, one of her with her father and grandparents, laughing under a summer sky, the other of her PulseTrend team, beaming the day their patent was approved. She was no longer the girl pushed aside. She was Olivia Carter, unbreakable, unstoppable, free.